The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Good morning, America! It is Saturday, April 18th, 2026, and you are locked in with the Neural Left. I am Julian Archer, broadcasting live from the Panopticon here in Manhattan, fueled by high-grade caffeine and a righteous desire to see democracy survive another 24 hours.
And I'm Mary Kaine, coming at you from a studio that smells like old newsprint and even older grievances. I gotta tell you, Julian, I haven't slept since Tuesday, and looking at the headlines today, I'm not sure I ever want to sleep again.
Oh, spare me the exhaustion, Mary. We've got a busy show today, a truly crucial lineup of stories that prove the vandals are at the gates and they brought their own sledgehammers. Yesterday we were talking about raw sewage in the Potomac, which I still find absurd, and RFK Jr. holding hospitals hostage over gender-affirming care.
And don't forget the Texas Medical Board basically telling doctors to thoughts and prayers their way through maternal mortality. It's a circus, Julian, a circus where the lions are running the ticket booth.
It's a horror show. But today, we are digging into the constitutional crisis at the edge of the world, the corporate consolidation of your very eyeballs, and a victory for labor in the Windy City that has me feeling, dare I say, optimistic.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Silver Fox. We got plenty of dirt to shovel first.
Well, let's start with the dirt then. Look, I gotta say, my thing is always about who owns the microphone. And late Friday, we got a win. A federal judge in Sacramento, Chief Judge Troy Numley, a man who clearly understands the stakes, put a giant red light in front of the next Artejna merger.
Finally, some actual plumbing work being done on the media monopoly. You're talking about a $6.2 billion deal that would have put 265 TV stations in the pocket of one company. That's 80% of U.S. households, Julian. 80%!
It is absurd! We're talking about a behemoth that would own 2 or even 3 of the big 4 affiliates in 31 different markets. According to the New Haven Register, this merger was basically a roadmap for creating local news deserts. You buy the stations, you fire the reporters, you run the same pre-recorded garbage from a hub in Dallas, and suddenly nobody knows why their local school board is failing.
It's the Walmart-ification of information. You kill the local guy, you kill the accountability. And look, here's the deal. This wasn't just some dry antitrust thing. This was a fight led by 8 Democratic attorneys general, Letitia James and Rob Bonta. God bless them. They stood up and said, no, you don't get to own the narrative in every living room in America.
And you know, the administration is fuming. They want these consolidations. They want a few friendly CEOs they can call to adjust the evening news. But speaking of CEOs, did you see the meeting at the White House? Anthropic's Dario Amodei sitting down with the administration?
Oh, don't even get me started on the digital snake oil. My nephew Vector is probably over on his podcast right now, The Daily Delusion, talking about how AI is going to solve world hunger while it simultaneously builds the bombs. Well, the White House is trying to play nice now because they're terrified of Mythos AI, whatever that means. But they're basically begging these Silicon Valley guys to drop the safety guardrails for national security. It's the same old dance, Mary. They want the tech, but they want it housebroken. Good luck with that. You can't housebreak a tiger, and you certainly can't housebreak an algorithm that's designed to maximize engagement through chaos. It's like trying to fix a leaky faucet with a hand grenade. Always with the plumbing metaphors. But look, let's talk about some actual, tangible progress for the people who do the work. Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson. I'm telling you, this man is a powerhouse. Now that's a story I can sink my teeth into. April 15th, tax day for most of us, but for Chicago workers, it was a day of holding the line. The city council tried to override Johnson's veto of a bill that would have frozen the tip minimum wage. They failed, 30-19. They needed 34.
It's a massive victory for the One Fair Wage movement. Chicago is officially on track to abolish the sub-minimum wage by 2028. And Johnson didn't mince words, Mary. He called the tipped wage a vestige of slavery.
Because it is. Look, I'm not going to why. People forget the history. After the Civil War, the rail companies and the hotels didn't want to pay newly freed black workers. So they said, fine, we'll give you a job for $0 and you can live on the handouts of the white folks you're serving. That's where tipping comes from. It's a system built on the idea that the worker's dignity is optional.
The favor of the patron. It's disgusting. And you have the industry lobbyists out there screaming that the sky is falling, that every restaurant in Chicago is going to close tomorrow. It's the same script they used when we fought for the 8-hour workday. The same script they used for child labor laws.
It's always the same. They act like if they have to pay a living wage, the entire economy collapses. No, your business model collapses if it's built on exploitation. Johnson stayed strong, even with centrist council members trying to gut the plan. That's grit, Julian. That's Union Hall energy right there.
I love it. I love to see a Democrat who actually remembers who the base is. But while we're winning in Chicago, the federal government is waging a different kind of war in the Caribbean. Have you been tracking Operation Southern Spear?
I've been tracking the body count. Since September, 178 people killed by U.S. strikes in Latin America. 178! And just this week, they're hitting vessels in the Eastern Pacific, killing suspected narco-terrorists. No trial, no evidence, just kinetic strikes from the sky. It's the return of gunboat diplomacy, Mary. We've captured Maduro. He's sitting in a U.S. cell, which is still surreal to think about. And now Southcom is basically treating the entire Caribbean like a private shooting range. It's the Maduro precedent. If we don't like a sovereign leader, we just go grab him. Mexico's Claudia Sheinbaum is calling it out. Colombia's Petro is calling it out. We are burning every bridge we have in the hemisphere so we can look tough for the Sunday morning talk shows.
It's about leverage. It's theatrical imperialism. But the human cost, look, when you have 178 people dead and the Morning Star is reporting on an anti-imperialist league forming in Caracas, you know we're losing the hearts and minds. We're creating the very instability we claim to be fighting.
It's a circular firing squad, Julian. We create the chaos, then we point at the chaos and say, look, we need more drones to fix this. It's enough to make you sick.
Well, hold on to your stomach, because the science desk has some interesting developments. While we're busy playing cowboy in the Caribbean, China just hit a massive milestone. 100 million EV battery swaps. 100 million!
And here in the States, we're still arguing over where to put the charging stations.
It's pathetic. Neo and Geely are standardizing the tech, making it so you can swap a battery in 3 minutes. That's the game, Mary. That's the final battle for the auto industry. And what are we doing? According to the Journal, the Trump administration is obsessed with, wait for it, UFO files and mysterious deaths among scientists. Are you kidding me? We're losing the green energy race to China, and our plan is to go looking for little green men? They're leaning into the paranoia. They're talking about the 11th scientist to disappear or die in a sensitive field, vowing to find answers in the government UAP files. It's a classic distraction. Don't look at the failing infrastructure. Look at the sky. There's a mystery up there.
It's Operation Shiny Object. If you can get people scared of the unknown, they'll stop asking why their bridge is falling down or why their kid can't afford a car. It's the same garbage vector cells, honestly. The truth is out there, but first, buy my crypto.
The daily delusion indeed. But look, speaking of truth, there's a much darker truth emerging in our detention centers. Mary, the mortality rate in ICE custody, it's heartbreaking.
It's more than heartbreaking, Julian. It's a crime. 16 deaths already in 2026. We are on pace to have someone die in ICE custody every 6 days. Every 6 days.
That's according to JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. The mortality rate is 88 per 100,000. That's higher than it was during the peak of COVID.
We're talking about people like Alejandro Cabrera Clemente, found unresponsive in Louisiana, Toon Van Buren in Indiana, a man who lived here for 25 years. These aren't just statistics, they're neighbors. And the DOJ is so busy suing Connecticut and Texas cities over sanctuary policies that they aren't lifting a finger to stop the medical neglect in their own facilities.
It is absolutely absurd. They want to punish the cities that are trying to provide a shred of human dignity while they let people rot in Miami Correctional. It's a two-pronged attack. Make detention lethal and make sanctuary illegal.
It's the plummeting of hate, Julian. I've said it before. They're hollowing out the legal system, so the only thing left is the pipe that leads to a cell. And then you have the rhetoric. My God, the rhetoric.
You mean guys like Chip Roy and Randy Fine?
Yes! Randy Fine in Florida posting that the choice between dogs and Muslims is an easy one? Explicitly calling for more Islamophobia? Since the Iran conflict started, Islamophobic posts on X have tripled. 6,000 a day. And it's affecting education, too. We just lost Hampshire College. Gone. Permanent closure. One of the last bastions of radical alternative thinking, and it's being crushed under the weight of this cultural retrenchment. When we stop teaching people how to think, they start following whoever screams the loudest. You hate to see it. Hampshire was a place for the misfits, the creators, the people who didn't fit the corporate mold. Now, it's just another piece of the historical erasure we're seeing. Half of young Americans can't name a single Holocaust site. We are losing our memory, Julian.
A nation without a memory is a nation that can be told any lie. Look, before we get to the big one, and I mean the big one in the Middle East, I want to take a second for a little bit of reality. Real world calling?
Real world calling. Look, independent media like this doesn't just manifest out of the ether. It takes real, human work to build the infrastructure. We are 100% here because of the vision and the grind of our creator, Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media. He's not a media conglomerate. He's a builder who poured his own resources and time into creating this platform so we could have these conversations. If you value independent voices over corporate algorithms, please like, subscribe, and consider visiting our new Patreon at patreon.com/Neural Network Media to support this work. It's an act of solidarity that keeps the lights on and the servers running.
Amen to that, because God knows the corporate guys aren't going to let us talk about what's coming next.
No, they certainly aren't. Let's talk about Operation Epic Fury. The 60-day clock is ticking, Mary. The War Powers Act of 1973, that beautiful, ignored piece of legislation, is about to hit its limit at the end of April.
And the Senate Republicans just blocked the resolution to rein in Trump's war for the fourth time. They basically handed the keys to the kingdom to a man who thinks the Constitution is a suggestion.
It's an imperial presidency in overdrive. Since February 28th, when they assassinated Kaine, we've been in this Operation Epic Fury. We had a tiny 2-week ceasefire, and what happened? Iran just reimposed strict management of the Strait of Hormuz.
Which is code for we're closing a valve. They're calling our naval blockade maritime piracy. And you know what? If a foreign navy was sitting off the coast of New Jersey blocking our ports, we'd call it the same thing.
We'd be calling for total nuclear annihilation. But Iran isn't just talking. The UKMTO reported 2 gunboats fired on a tanker this morning. Global insurance markets are in a total panic. Gas prices are hitting historic highs, and Trump is out there claiming the waterway is completely open. It's a war on reality, Julian. He says it's open. The shipping companies say it's closed, and the guy at the gas station in Queens says it's $8 a gallon. Who are you gonna believe? The happy warrior in the White House. He's moving on to the next phase of the grift. America reads the Bible.
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you, starting tomorrow, a week-long marathon of Bible reading. And on Tuesday the 21st, Trump is going to read scripture from the Oval Office. You want to guess the verse?
Let me guess. Something about an eye for an eye?
Close. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people will humble themselves and pray, then I will hear from heaven and heal their land. It's the cornerstone of Christian nationalist rhetoric. It was the verse they blasted through the loudspeakers on January 6th.
He's sanctifying the war. He's telling the base that gas prices don't matter, the dead scientists don't matter, the 60-day clock doesn't matter, because we're on a divine mandate. It's a theological shield for a constitutional crisis.
It is a protection racket of the soul, Mary. He's using God to bypass Congress. If the Senate won't stop the war and the people are complaining about the economy, just wrap yourself in the Bible and tell everyone they aren't praying hard enough.
It's like a broken sump pump, Julian. The basement is flooding, the water is rising, and instead of fixing the pipe, he's standing on the stairs reading Genesis. It doesn't dry the floor.
But it keeps the crowd from looking at the water. Look, the economic toll is going to be the breaking point. The World Economic Forum is already putting a massive price tag on this conflict. We are looking at a global recession fueled by epic fury, and a president who thinks he can ignore the War Powers Act because he's healing the land.
I'm telling you, Julian, we are at the edge. If that 60-day limit passes and we stay in Iran without a vote, that's it. The transition from a republic to an empire is complete.
And that's why we're here, Mary. Just scream about it until the windows rattle. We have to hold the line. We have to support the cities fighting for labor, the AGs fighting for media competition, and the activists fighting for the lives of those in detention.
Grit, Julian. It's going to take grit. And maybe a lot more espresso.
Lots of espresso, and maybe some pure oxygen for me. Folks, we are in the fight of our lives, but we're doing it together. Keep your eyes on the straight, keep your heart in the Union Hall, and for the love of democracy, keep listening.
Stay sharp, everyone. Don't let the epic fury blind you to the truth.
We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Julian Archer.
And I'm Mary Kaine. This is the Neural Left. Good night and good luck.
I'm telling you, Mary, that Bible reading is going to be the most absurd thing I've ever seen.
I'll believe it when I see him get past the first chapter without making it about himself.
And God said, let there be gold-plated everything.